Welcome to the SuperNova podcast. My name is Jannes. I will be your host for today, and I'm joined in this session by Koen from Dell Technologies. Hi, Koen. Can you maybe introduce yourself in a quick sentence for the viewers?
Yes, thanks for having me. So I'm Koen Segers. I'm the managing director for Dell Technologies in Belgium and Luxembourg, which means basically I'm responsible for the overall business of Dell Technologies within the Belgian market. So very happy to be here.
Okay, thank you. How would you explain your job for someone who's outside of the tech bubble or someone who has no idea what a managing director does?
Oh yes. Well, of course, it's a very there's a lot of variety, let me say, in the role. But I think mainly it is about shaping the team and making sure that the whole team is successful. I have a special focus, of course, because we are a subsidiary of a big corporate. Mm-hmm. So locally, we are mainly focusing on everything which is sales, that we sell our technology to the local market here in Belgium and Luxembourg, but also that we make sure that customers are happy afterwards. So the services portion is extremely important. But the most important thing is indeed make sure that the right person is at the right spot and that we are able to be successful. Maybe other elements related to the role is really, being the face externally, engaging with a lot of customers, with a lot of partners, just to build these long-term partnerships and to be successful together.
Okay, it's very clear. I feel like I already have a grasp of an idea of what you're doing then. You've been with Dell for more than 10 years already, or a bit longer even, if I'm not mistaken. Ending up to become managing director, like when did it hit you that you might build your entire career in Dell? Yeah,
I actually never had a plan.
Okay.
And that's probably the red line in my whole career, that I never had a plan to do that. The thing what I did in my career is I said yes to a lot of opportunities, and I started within Dell in the services division. Mm-hmm. Then there came another opportunity to move into other roles, and I always said yes. And the funny thing is that indeed that due to the fact that I've been in different departments in pre-sales, in sales, in the responsible for the partner ecosystem, in the services, that I had a wide scope of experience. And then when the role of managing director became vacant, I was a good choice at that point in time, apparently. So and I'm doing it. So, but it's a great company, and for me, it's all about are you able to make a difference? Mm-hmm. Are you enjoying yourself? Are you having fun? And this is until now still the case. So that's the reason why I stay with Dell Technologies.
Well, I can tell. It's very apparent that you're having fun at what you're doing. Maybe to dive into a bit deeper into who you are, people who know you at Dell professionally, what's the one word they would use to describe you?
I think it's I think it would be. Can I use two?
You can.
I think it would be probably a combination of energetic and optimistic. I think.
Okay.
So I think we're in a world which is there's a lot of challenges also in corporates. So business is going with ups and downs from time to time. But I think I'm somebody who tries to keep the energy level very high and to keep people motivated. We try to use a lot of humor as well. And I think if the organization you're working is a nice place to work, is a fun place to work, people will get energy and people will be also successful. I know it's very easy. It sounds very easy, but I think there is a big part of truth in that. So
okay, well, it shows. When people say that Belgium is always a follower in technology, do you smile, do you disagree, or do you get slightly annoyed at that statement?
It's a bit mixed, my feeling. I get a bit annoyed because I see the great things which are happening in the market. I don't think they're always visible enough. So I think we're always a bit too humble in Belgium. That being said, at the other side of the coin, there is also we also see that some technologies were not always the early adopters. So a lot of companies tend to look at does it really work, and then they try to adopt. So I think it's a mixed, and for me it's really, and that's also one of the reasons why we want to be here at SuperNova. It's all these great things which are happening in the startup and scale-up scene, all this innovation which is happening. We need to cherish this, and we need to put a lot of attention and promote this, because I think there's fantastic things happening, and we need to make sure we have the climate as well to drive this innovation, and that's why we are here and what we also want to support. So
that's amazing. So you spent more than a decade at Dell. The team of SuperNova is Reinvent Yourself. Does your career feel like a series of reinventions, or is it more of a, stable kind of loyalty with Dell?
I think if you would just take my career within Dell, you will see indeed, and of course you stay within a company. But as I mentioned, I did multiple roles, and I think I like to taste from a lot of different things. So from that perspective, within the company, I try to reinvent myself many times. But you might not know, but I have a completely different background actually.
Okay.
So I'm actually a social worker from education.
Okay.
And the first job I had, I was teaching actually. I was in adult education.
All right.
So completely different.
That's true. I would dare to say that you reinvented yourself
Absolutely.
along the way quite a couple of times then, because
Yep.
go from social worker to teacher to managing director of Dell, that's not just one reinvention, that's a
Yep.
series of...
And the funny thing is that when I joined, because I actually started in IT after I was teaching, I was and I was working with a lot of engineers and people who had very high degrees, and I was always a bit ashamed when they asked them what did you study, and I was like, yeah, I'm a social worker, so I was like the strange duck. But actually, I found after these years that it becomes really a strength, because you see that specifically on leadership. The human aspect, the empathy part, the how do you motivate people, how do you put the right person at the right place, is becoming even more important than it's ever been before. And especially now when we're going to transformations with AI, we need to adapt and we need to change. And I think when you have these people capabilities, this is an area where you can really play. And I think where I have probably done my strength from my background. So and that helps me a lot in what I'm doing.
Okay. It's very interesting. We'll dive into the AI part later, maybe. But like, I'm wondering, you came a long way. You did very different roles. Was there one thing that you had to stop doing when you became managing director? Something that you used to do in previous roles that you had to unlearn, or a reflex that you had to suppress?
I think from from an overall general management perspective, I don't think I stopped doing a lot of things. I think I've been quite consistent. I think one of the pitfalls you have when you take a new role, you need to drop the previous role, and you need to really let the people who take your previous job the space to be successful. And that's something sometimes you need to be careful for that you give the space and you really trust the people which are taking over. And but until now it goes pretty well. So
okay, that's good, because I can imagine that it's not always that easy. But it's good to hear that it's working out. I've been researching you a bit. You said that Belgium ranks near the top of the EU for AI adoption. If you're looking at what's really happening, with you guys or with other companies that you're aware of, are you optimistic or more impatient for how it's going?
Who, optimistic or impatient? I'm actually both.
It is kind of a false dichotomy, but
No, and indeed, so it was something I said indeed in an article. It was based on independent research, by the way. So that where they were looking at adoption. And I think we tend to look when we take a look at AI. We tend to look at what are these big investments on mega server farms with GPUs and these type of things. And this is not yet happening in Belgium, but it doesn't mean that we're not applying AI. So you need these mega server farms to do training or fine tuning of your AI models. But when I talk to customers, every customer is having an AI discussion. Every customer is looking into use cases on what they can do in adopting AI. And sometimes we see that customers are much further ahead than we would think. It's not only, but it's only not always visible to the external world, because it's still in internal projects which they are driving. So from that perspective, I'm optimistic. I think at the other hand, impatient as well, because you see that the pace of innovation is going so fast that we need to make sure we don't miss the boat, and I think that's an important one.
Okay, I'm interested in your perspective on it's going so fast, not missing the boat. What are the domains that you're currently looking towards with impatience or with optimism? Can you shine a light on the things that go in your mind when you say those things?
I think right now it's of course. the area of agentic AI, and I think there's a lot of things happening. But I still do see that there is a lot of initiatives ongoing in proof of concept phase, but the real production is still sometimes lagging a bit behind. There are specific areas where we see good use cases and good results as well. But at the other hand, I think there is a lot of room still to improve.
Okay. You've also said that sovereignty is right now on every CIO's agenda and that AI is accelerating it. Can you share a moment that thought stopped being theoretical, that you can give me an example of why you said that?
Oh, I think it's I can't spot on a specific moment or an event, but it's something which has been growing in the past. So we've been, of course, within Dell Technologies, we provide on-premise sovereign solutions by default, and we've been seeing actually a trend already in a lot of other countries around us that people would actually still. I started moving back actually to this on-premise sovereign solutions. First of all, it was from a cost perspective that they say, okay, if you have stable workloads, you can run it actually in an on-premise environment for better economics. But in the meantime, this sovereignty discussion has evolved, and the first discussion was, okay, where is your data located? I think this is less relevant in the meantime. Then it became a legal discussion under which legislation is your data sitting. I think it's a relevant discussion. But now it's more about a business resiliency discussion. Okay, what is so what does sovereignty mean on any impact I could have from whatever thing is happening with my data on my business impact? And I think this is a very relevant discussion. And from that perspective, I think the sovereignty discussion is really extremely hot right now, and we see a lot of discussions on that one with good reasons, I think.
Okay, can you maybe shine a bit more of a light on that business impact discussion, because it's not entirely clear for me what it means?
Well, it means that basically if you don't have a sovereign solution and there's other people who can access your data or can stop you from accessing your data, then of course you have a business continuity issue. Okay. And from that perspective, indeed, these are things you need to take into account.
So it's a vulnerability, or
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That way. Maybe going on the data part of all that. I've also heard you say or read you say that Belgian companies are not making their data AI ready enough. What kind of risks are we taking when we're not doing that? Can you try to wake people up like those are the next steps and this is what you need to be doing?
But I think it's the risk we are taking is really the speed of innovation we're missing. And we see that when we talk to customers on AI and AI initiatives, every time it ends up in a data management discussion. And your AI is as successful as your data is. And from that perspective, we see that the data needs to be AI ready to be able to have successful AI outcomes or for your use cases. And from that perspective, I think it's important that we have this discussion as well on data management with the customers. The problem is the data is everywhere. So you have there's different softwares, different tools, different. It can be on premise, it can be in public cloud. There's different softwares they use. So how are you going to manage this, and how are you going to make sure that you can use all this data? And then we see sometimes customers are pushing data towards a certain platform because they said, okay, we want to centralize this. We don't think that's the right strategy. So this is actually bringing your data to the AI. We would like to really do the other thing, the other way around. We say, leave your data where it is, but we will bring the AI to your data. And then it becomes a much easier discussion on getting more value of all your data you have. But therefore, you need a data management discussion. So, because how are you going to access this data, which is sitting everywhere? So, how are you going to govern this? How are you going to make sure this is done in a secure way? And how are you going to make sure you get then the value out of this data and it's usable?
Okay, are there any best practices or how to tackle things you can share from your own experience there?
What we do and we support with our customers is really that we really look at this data management and this data layer platform, and this is where we and this is for us the basics actually, where we come with kind of data engines depending on what you want to do with your data. And I think this is a discussion we should have, or every company or organization should have actually. to really look into how I make my data accessible. And there is plenty of technology solutions which you can support there. So, and I think this is the first step in driving a successful AI outcome.
Okay, very interesting. Maybe taking a step back, when I talk to you and you look from the outside, the events, the climb up the corporate ladder, it all looks very great and successful. What is the internal question you keep asking yourself to see if you're still making the right choices, saying yes to the right things, and choosing the right path?
I think it's what I challenge myself regularly on the decisions I'm taking or the direction we're going. Is this the one we need for the long term? And I think this is the question every company should ask themselves. It's always think in the long term, and I think you need to challenge, because sometimes we live by the idea of the priority of the day. But I think I have some moments within my week where I really reflect. Okay, these are the right things we are doing, and of course you need to back this up with the numbers and with but it's really okay. Are we doing the things that the right way for the long term?
Okay. Interesting, maybe to segue into trends and stuff as well. I saw that you sit in on Agoria and CIONet discussions too. Is there something you hear in those rooms about the Belgian digital reality or the state of the art that you wish every Belgian CEO could hear?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think the discussions I hear mainly, and we see with AI, this is accelerating, and this is actually getting much better. As IT was historically always seen as a mandatory thing which you needed to have, but it was not always seen as a kind of business enabler. I think with AI and with all the capabilities we have, IT is really at the heart and the center of a company, and we see that indeed. The role of the CIO is becoming increasingly important, also in the board of the companies. And I think that's my only ask, or I think the ask from a lot of CIOs or IT people I speak with. It's the relevance of IT, that it's really a business enabler instead of a cost.
Yeah.
And the companies which really see this as a business enabler, they are much more successful than the ones who treat IT still as a kind of a cost.
Yeah. So in essence, it's every company is also partly an IT company right now, or
Exactly.
should have an IT focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any examples of things you've run into where you said, like, at your core, it's not IT you do, clients or relations, where you see that because they take the IT focus, they really have an advantage, or they're miles ahead in the way they approach it?
Well, I think we have, of course, the obvious disruptors and the historical examples we had in the market, like the Ubers of this world, which have been really revolutionizing some industries. But I think it's happening in every industry. And that's the thing. So you should not look into one example or think it's not happening. No, every industry is being disrupted by AI, by technology. And if it's maybe the first phase, not externally, it certainly is internally, to drive more efficiencies, to drive faster business decision internally, and to drive more efficiency.
Okay, cool. I'm zooming out back a bit because you intrigued me with your education and your first job as a teacher. Do you sometimes wonder about the road not taken? What could have happened if you stayed a teacher or took other choices? Is it something that you are aware of?
I don't reflect too much on that. I think I look more ahead, and as I said, I like to take the opportunities. People sometimes say when you choose, it's choosing is losing. I think it's choosing is winning, because you go for something and you should not reflect too much on the choices you take. I've taken a lot of choices in my career. I sometimes took a wrong choice as well, also from a career perspective. I think it's a learning curve, and I don't see this as a wrong thing. So no, actually not.
Okay, no, that's great. I was just wondering because it's an interesting path that you've taken. I'm going to ask a question which I'm not entirely understanding, but I read somewhere that you said something about AI factories. And I was picturing GPU halls and servers and everything, but you're defining it as an infrastructure layer that's connecting a project to the right AI model. If I'm right there, Could you maybe elaborate on your vision on what the AI factory is then, or how did it come up?
Yeah, when we think about AI, and that was the point I mentioned a bit earlier as well. When we think about AI, we think about these gigantic server farms, and of course we have this, and I'd be more than happy to sell them as well. but we see them like basically as, but this is for specific use cases. You know, this could be applicable for training and inference, training or fine tuning models, or within specific industries. You know, research centers, maybe pharmaceuticals, where you need to really have this huge volume of AI capabilities. But on a day-to-day basis, to implement a great AI use case, we have plenty of AI use cases which can run on a laptop or our new fantastic GB10 device with NVIDIA. So therefore, for us, an AI factory, it's more a concept. It's a framework where you have basically, where you start looking at what is the use case I want to drive. At the other side, what is the data you need to drive this use case? And in the middle, in this factory, you have a piece of infrastructure. And this can be everything. For a very small use case, as I said, this can be a laptop, but it can also be a very nice and big server with GPUs. Then you have, of course, the software layer, because this is crucial actually to develop actually this business outcome, and this is where also your LLMs are running. And then on top of this, you have the services you need to put this into place. So this is the kind of concept we use, and we have these Dell AI factories. We have multiple ones. We have the most popular one right now is the one with NVIDIA. We put into place. But this is a framework you can use on any use case, from large to small. And sometimes this framework is used for very specific small use cases, and sometimes it is for the large server farms.
Okay, so it's more of a framework that's model or AI agnostic, that could go from on-device models running to complete certain tasks to offshoring or huge server farms or the classic ones. It's a framework that doesn't rely on how you implement, but more structures the way that you would approach it, and then looks at the necessary technology to make it happen.
Correct. And it all starts with the use case. I think it's a very obvious thing to say, and it's but it all starts with the use case. And depending on the use case, you will have completely different technology requirements. And,
are companies often not really keeping use case in mind and just aiming bazookas at mosquitoes to try and automate stuff with AI that you can just do more efficiently with a smaller device, or is that not exactly?
No, absolutely. Sometimes, and I think that's the key part. When you want to drive AI projects, you need to have a very good qualification. You really need to really define very well what's the use case, what do we want to achieve, and what are the success criteria to get there. And if you haven't defined them very well, then probably because we see a lot, there was research from MIT in Boston, which stated I think it was 95% of the AI POCs are failing. But actually, it was stated by MIT. Okay, it doesn't matter actually. It's if it's a well-defined POC with clearly defined success criteria, it's not too bad to have a failed proof of concept.
Okay, yeah.
But if the problem is that it's not well defined and the use case is not well described and there is no clear success criteria and there is no clear vision on what you would like to do, then it's an issue. And I think the key focus should be on that one.
Yeah, then it's setting up for failure, because how will you measure success if you can't really define it? Sounds like there's a lesson in there for a lot of people who are experimenting with AI to really make sure that you know what you want to achieve, you define success, and otherwise you're just throwing stuff at walls and see what sticks.
Yeah, there's a big parallel with setting up a business. If you don't have your financials under control, if you don't have a clear business plan, you won't be successful. And that's exactly the same with an AI project. You need to set it up properly.
Okay, very clear. I'm looking at a bit at rounding up, but I'm wondering, like, if your 25-year-old self could shadow you for a week in your managing director role at Dell Technologies, would there be moments that you say like, oh my God, is that me? Am I taking those decisions? Am I doing that?
Yeah. Probably yes. I think my 25-year-old me wouldn't believe that the role I'm doing right now. So I had a completely different vision potentially at that point in time in my career. And potentially, I think when I was 25, I was teaching. So I might have been surprised potentially by some more tough decisions I need to take. But at the other hand, I think the 25-year-old Koen would be, I think, happy with the way I'm taking these decisions, or because I think you can take tough decisions, but you can do it, but you can always do it in a human way, and you can do it in a constructive way. And from that perspective, yeah, from a content perspective, he would be surprised. From the style, I hope my 25-year-old me won't be surprised.
Okay, that's actually a very comforting idea, right?
Yeah.
That the things you're doing would be impressive, but deep down it would feel like familiar territory, or like you're still the same person. That's cool. If you're involved in a lot of technology, big decisions. Like, how do you switch off? What's your escape? How do you recharge? Let's say.
Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe two things. So just going to nature. It's a very simple thing. So for a walk in the woods, I love it. The one where I completely lose my the stress. I think it's music.
Okay.
I think it's a fantastic way actually to deconnect, because when you go to concert or you play music yourself, you're completely into the zone of doing this, and that's probably where I can deconnect completely.
Okay, so you both consume it. Let's say at concerts, I can relate to that. We also play.
No, actually, I tried everything. Really? I'm a wannabe musician, but I'm not successful in anything.
Okay.
I actually became a roadie now, because my sons are playing in a band, and I'm the driver and the roadie.
My God, you're
and I really enjoy that piece. So,
that's amazing. That also sounds like a great way to deconnect. You know,
exactly.
You focus on what's important for them, and by that way also for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. It was really a pleasure to get to know you and the company as well. I hope you have a great day at SuperNova today, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.